Folks, thanks for joining us today. My name is John Dubas with Premier Marketing, and we'll be spending the next half hour or so discussing one of the most time-honored and effective and cost-effective means of locating prospects in which to discuss the portfolio of products in which we offer. Today's presentation is being recorded, and the link to that recording will be sent to all who have expressed interest in today's webinar, but also will be posted on our website at premiersmi.com and on our YouTube channel as well. A bit of housekeeping, you'll notice in the software that there's a section for both questions and chat. We ask that you put your questions in the questions section, and we'll make certain that we address those. We find that many times they are handled through the course of the presentation, but we'll make certain that we get you the information that you are interested in. A bit of housekeeping for those of you who aren't as familiar with Premier Marketing as others. We are a national marketing organization founded in 1968 that's part of the Integrity Marketing Platform with offices across the country. We act as an insurance wholesaler, delivering programs to the public through independent insurance agents and agencies such as yourself, and we do so through contracts with those individuals or organizations that are at the highest possible commission levels, with recruiting contracts available to those who qualify. The portfolio is very robust. It includes the Medicare programs such as Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement and standalone Part D programs, but also includes a selection of life insurance and annuity products, final expense life insurance and pre-need plans, long and short-term care programs, disability income, and the ancillary benefits such as dental, vision, hearing, critical illness cancer plans, hospital indemnity programs, accident plans, and telehealth programs, the MD Live program we recently rolled out. When we speak to the Medicare opportunity, however, since that is a topic of great interest to the vast majority of our agents, we're looking at a market that's growing exponentially. Everyone speaks to you about the silver tsunami, the aging of the baby boomers. More than 10,000 people a day turning 65, one every 10 seconds. It's a bit of a misnomer, however, because there are, particularly within the last year or so, a larger number of folks that have reached Medicare eligibility but aren't taking advantage of those products fully as they become eligible for one reason or another. So the number based on age is a little lower, but it's more than compensated for by that faction, that 15% of the Medicare population, 1/6 to 1/7 thereabout, that are under the age of 65, accessing Medicare benefits because of disability, and that's also the portion of the population in Medicare that is very difficult to reach by other means. So referrals are particularly of interest when we're addressing that segment of the Medicare market. Not that it doesn't apply across the board, but it's particularly important in locating that population because that whole Medicare demographic is one that has some very startling statistics that we need to take into account. 2/3 of the population has 3+ chronic illnesses, and they have, as a median need, some challenges with their income and their assets. So our being able to identify who needs our help is especially important in this population, not only for us to stay active and earn a living, but also take care of the needs that may not be addressed in another fashion. And a majority of those folks are great referral sources for us to use moving forward. They all have choices. They can do nothing. They can add the optional Part B. Most of them do. Some of them will just pick up a Part D plan for medication. Some will go with a standardized, modernized Med Sup to take care of some of the shortfall on the medical portion, or they'll go into a Medicare Advantage plan, an all-in-one program, as the TV commercials say. That gives us an opportunity in each of these segments to utilize our referral discovery skills and make available our services across the board, no matter what their initial choice is. And we're finding it's a pretty even split when people are first coming into Medicare under whatever circumstance between Medicare Advantage and Med Sup programs and you've got that segment that says original Medicare only, well, those are the folks that might be Medi-Medi, have retiree benefits, VA benefits, whatever reason they're not showing up in an MA or Med-Sup type of scenario. Once again, in every faction, utilizing our referral skills can make a huge difference in undercovering people that are viable prospects for the portfolio that we're offering. We do also offer an acronym guide for you to help with the translation of these Medicare terms. It seems like every industry has their own language. Well, this is part of ours, and we want to make certain that you have a means to translate it for the folks you're visiting with. I've been doing this for 35 plus years. There's an acronym that pops up all the time. You got to go, I need to look that one up because it could be this or it could be that. So we'll make certain you have that as well. And we also want to make certain that no matter what segment you're addressing, they understand the opportunity for the election periods and the close of OEP after the with the 1st of April, and some of the steps that are available for your working with folks in this area. We find that, you know, with all the different special election periods that are out there, the majority of people do qualify for a SEP, one or another. If it's in their best interest to utilize it, it may be another situation, but we've got to take into account that more than half the population aren't comparing their benefits annually. And we all know what happens with drug formularies, tiers within those medications, change of cost of those medications with what may have changed from one tier to another, or even the differences in the co-payments or the network in the medical part of it, or the cost of a Med-Sup. So there are people out there that need our help, and they're not doing it annually. And some of those are the folks that need to do it the most, the ones that are utilizing their benefits, and it may be costing them literally thousands of dollars for not reviewing annually. And even if they have looking at some of the data, they're having troubles understanding it. And that's where our role comes into play. And that's a great question to come up with a referral when you're visiting with someone who's having some challenges understanding it. Boy, Mr. Ms. Prospect, I really can empathize with you, you know, with some of these terms and understanding all this information. I bet there are others that you know that are having the same challenge. So there are questions that can come into this piece, because even the folks that are proficient in the use of electronic means of obtaining information, they're not even using some of the official information that's out there. And a number of agents are very good about using Medicare.gov to help find information, even though there are some private programs that can work as well or maybe better when it comes to tracking and using it as a sales CRM. So some different things that can come into play, because, hey, everybody on Medicare gets a Medicare and You booklet in October, be it a physical booklet mailed to them or sent to them electronically. They have access for the benefits under Medicare through an app, all this different information that's put out there by Medicare, including some really good videos that folks aren't using, and can be a real starting point for us to go through and say, hey, I understand the challenges with a comparison year over year. That's one of the reasons we like to do annual reviews. We like to reference the material that's put out there by the government. We have other tools that can help you, and there may be others that you know that need our help as well. And we're able to do that because of all this electronic access, either in person or virtually. And sometimes we have to be nimble enough to go from one to the other, because there may be folks that you approach virtually now that want a face-to-face. We're an essential industry. You can do that. Proper guidelines, of course. And there may be folks that you visit in person that you need to follow up with virtually. So knowing how to pivot from one information distribution to another and sharing that information in a fashion that will help spread your reputation in the community and garner more referrals for you as well. Because, hey, Medicare beneficiaries are becoming much more proficient in the use of these tools, and we're having different centers of influence in the community help train them with that. A whole lot of the doctor's visits are still handled virtually. There are virtual visits with dentists, believe it or not, with hospitals, all these delivery of cares. And there are also centers of influence in the community that are using virtual means of reaching the population as well, including faith-based organizations who have held services throughout this year-long plus quarantine of sorts. So they are teaching folks how to use this. We can be part of that process as well, because honestly, we don't want to put all of our prospecting in a singular basket, but we need to do some things consistently, such as asking for referrals and varying our ways of having people raise their hands and be able to insert that referral process into any means of prospecting that we have available to us, be it response to direct mail, a past referral, folks that we're seeing off of Facebook or other internet sources, however we're purchasing or are obtaining our leads. Inserting a constant and the referral process is a great way to pony up on that service, because quite frankly, if we approach that with the same mentality that we do in the sales process and forget that it is actually part of the sales process, we can help fill our calendar of appointments just through referrals. And it's a great way to be cost effective in what we're doing. And keep in mind, close rates for referrals run at a very high rate. And these folks that you're visiting off of a referral are much more likely to give you a referral than someone cold, someone different, 2.5 times more likely. And it's the most cost-effective way of building a business. What's it cost you to ask somebody if they know somebody who can benefit from your services? If we're doing our job and working the process, they're going to be more than willing to do so, and we'll get into some details in just a second. Because it's important to realize how this can drive down our overall costs that are being spent, free up budget for other means of getting people involved in our agency and in our services, and remembering that these referrals can be unilaterally applied to a whole bunch of different sources. We'll talk about that, but it's important that we're referable, that we're delivering upon the information that they're asking for in the manner that they're asking for, and following up and making certain that everything is done for them. So think about that. You have people that you can go back to now that can be that source of referral. We're going to talk about that. But you may be an agent who know of other agents that need help. Hey, send them our way. Refer them to us. 1-800-365-8208, a plug for referrals for us. It's important, too, to realize how we can help people identify folks that can benefit from our services. One of the tactics that was in use big time in the Medicare Plus Choice days into the return of the Medicare Advantage programs was the simple way of, when you visit with an individual and you have completed the presentation, notice I didn't say sold them or not. Either way, this works. Hey, you have an address book that you put in the names of important people? I'd like to be included. Would you go get that address book for me? They go get it. It's like, okay, John Dubas, 214-450-9639. That's my cell phone number. Put that in there. And remember, I'm your first line of defense. You got the customer service unit with the programs that we've discussed. You can use that, obviously, but I want to be involved in the process and help you make certain that you know what is going on. And by the way, since you've got that booklet there, do you know of other people that are listed there that I can help? The programs we offer have great value to people, and some may be more interested than others. But breeze through that book and look at the names that I might be able to help. Remember, if you give me their name and number, I'm going to store it. But because of the regulations that we have in our industry and do not call list, I can't call them. So if you don't mind, give them a buzz, give them my name and number, explain what's going on. I can help you with that. But let them know that they need to call me, and we can set up a time to visit, and then I can return their call and visit with them as well, should I miss their initial inquiry. A great way of setting up referrals based on where they're storing that information. So who all else do you ask? Obviously, you can go back to your book of business, as I mentioned. For those of you that are proficient in the use of Medicare Center, our enrollment tool that we offer, the information gathering tool, storage of scopes of appointment with 3 different quote engines within that singular device. If you put in information in there for the quotes, whether you sold them or not, they'll be in there. It's a great way to go back, examine your book of business that's done through this organization or our sister organization. If you have a different CRM that you're using, go back to that and do a blast of your book of business. You can go back and list a topic of the month if you wish, or the topic that is your main thrust of business, obviously, or it may be just a circumstance where you're out there, hey, wanted to stay in touch with you. This is an article that I came across that you might find interesting. Do you know of other folks that can use my service? Injecting the referral ask into your communications to your present book of business, a great way of generating those types of leads. And that can happen with prospects as well, because unless you are the superwoman, superman of the world, and you close each and every one of your prospects, or perhaps you just entered those that you did in a CRM, well, your prospects can be a great source of referrals for you as well. So keep in mind when you send out those newsletters or that communication, you're corresponding with your prospects that you may not have sold. It may be a way of reviving them. They may have second thoughts about the choice that they made during annual election period. And hey, OEP is done. We can't really talk about that anyway. They're going to qualify for a SEP in most instances. So there are some things that we can do to market to our prospects. Remember, of course, the old, if you got involved in life insurance before we went all electronic, you had your list of 50 or list of 100, included family members. Well, you can reach out to your family members, and even if they're not eligible for the programs you're offering, they may know people that are. It might be their in-laws. It might be through some folks that they work with. Whatever it happens to be, they can still be a viable source of referrals, even though it's not a directed sales at them at all. And then, of course, you've got your community contacts. These include the people and the sources that are delivering upon the care of the products that you're offering. So the providers include doctors, specialists, hospitals, DME people, home health care agencies, in the provider side, dentists. They can also be faith-based organizations or other centers of influence in the community that can be a venue for you to pursue with presentations, offering of information, a fishing of sorts for folks that they may know in the community that can use your services in that area as well. Next, when do you ask? It's the misquote LBJ, vote early, vote often, same way here. Figure out a process that you have that you make it a part of your presentation of when you're asking, those different touch points that may be of interest. First of which, when you're setting up the appointment. I had great success with this in my individual production days where I'm asking for the appointment. We set a date and a time just like normal, and then it's like, hey, by the way, if you know of folks that are interested in this information and you're comfortable with them being present when we discuss it, have them come over. We can fill out a scope of appointment when we get there so we can discuss different things compliantly and we can go through things together. They may have questions you didn't think of and vice versa, and it may be a great way for you to share information and get what you need to make a decision. And you're helping out your friends or your neighbors or whoever else happens to be at the appointment. It's also important for us to notice in our presentation, if we do things in the Medicare Advantage or PDP world or MedSup world particularly, there are different touch points that are of interest to a whole bunch of people. A lot of times when you get into the MA programs, you're talking about the network. Oh, I use this doctor. Hey, who else do you know that uses that doctor? Or, hey, I use this hospital. Who else is a huge advocate of that hospital system? Or, hey, this is even my dentist. I know of folks there. That's awesome. Who else uses them? And by the way, the last time you were in there, do you know of other people that you discuss with your provider? So some different things that you can come into play at that point in time. It can be as you go through and you talk to through those ancillary benefits. the dental, the vision, the different programs that are out there, the transportation benefit, catalog benefit, whatever it happens to be. Hey, who else do you know that this could really help? Different ways that you can interject through the course of the presentation. Med sups. Wow, you haven't reviewed your med sup in three years. You know of other people that haven't as well, because you think about this, those prices are subject to change every year at least once as well. So some different things that you can do through the course of the presentation, and then of course at the close of the sale. Thank you very much. Really appreciate the opportunity to do business with you. Or, hey, I'm sorry we couldn't do anything at this time, but do you know of other people that I can help? Both ways it's going to be effective. And then, of course, there's the Columbo piece that we use also for cross-selling. When you get to the door, hey, by the way, who's your dentist? Who do you have your dental coverage with? Or, hey, by the way, who else can you think of that might be of need of my help? So some different pieces that are in there that are natural touch points just to ask. You don't have to be the Herb Tarlick where you're wearing your plaid jacket, you open your lapel and you say, hey, you want to buy a watch? You don't need to do that. You just need to be subtle about it and say, hey, who else can I help? Can I ask a favor of you? And then know how to counter the resistance you're going to get from most people when it comes to the referral, or from many people, I should say. Because if you've handled yourself in a professional manner, they're not going to be afraid of referring you. The reluctance comes many times when they feel that the people that they're giving you their information on, or they're agreeing to contact, those people may be the ones that, hey, I don't want a sick salesman on. Well, I'm going to handle them in the same professional manner I've done with you. I want to make certain that if the product is of help to them, we're able to explore it further. Or if it's not, I'm going to do the same thing that I offered with you. And they're not being forced to sign anything. That's just the way it is. So know how to counter that, and then establish the expectations for the people that are giving you those referrals. This is who I visited with. This is how we contacted them. And I want to thank you for that referral. Thank you. Thank you. Remember those magical words. Thank you. Who else do you know? It's the old keep them rolling, and then follow up with them after their effective date as well. We have another webinar that we do on the follow-up to the sale that I think that would be very helpful for you as well. So watch for that recording too. If you know of other people, other agents that can benefit from these trainings, let them know about us. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. It's also important to note that we got to do things compliantly, particularly if you're dealing in the Medicare Advantage or PDP world, where you got to be really careful with how you approach some of the referral process. And we want to make certain that we abide by the do not call list, and we make certain that we handle the referrals that are given to us in the manner in which we're permitted. And that warm-up call with your prospect or client that you've been dealing with, and having them visit with the people that they're referring, just can be a short call. Hey, I met with this great gal. She gave me information on these systems. We had a couple that, hey, we didn't see the value in, but we had some others that I think would be helpful. And so we are going forward with that. And we thought you might benefit from it as well. Huge difference with that warm-up call. And remember, you've got a whole portfolio of products that you can use. The one that you visited with on a particular appointment may not be the hot button for the referral. So as they speak to it and they say, no, we decided that's not for us. Well, hey, I can understand that. I offer a great variety of programs, however. Are you interested in dental insurance? Or, hey, have you explored the coverage for your final expenses? Or have you arranged for care in a long-term care situation? So there are a number of ways that you can pivot within your portfolio as well. And keep in mind, the more products you have in the house, the higher your retention. Your persistency is enhanced by having more products in the household. They don't have to be with the same company. They just have to be with the same agent, you. And they can drive up that persistency and retention. So making this a part of your routine is essential. Put it in your mind and practice that piece until it becomes natural, where you're going through your sales process and you're uncovering not only needs, but other people that you can visit with. And you can do it constantly through the program. Make it a stated goal for yourself and write it down. This is how many referrals I'm going to aim for per appointment, per week, per month, however, and in totality, however you're going to do it, and do it consistently. It's like the exercise program. You also need to do it consistently so you can get full value out of it and it becomes natural, but it's also something that you need to be prepared for. So you have to have that general knowledge or specific knowledge in many cases that you can get through some of the other trainings that are offered by the carriers in our organization or other organizations as well, making certain that you're enabling the discovery process as part of the referral process as well. You're going to get extra help from us too to make it easy, because as you go through these referrals, you may find there are programs that you need to offer that you don't have contracts for. You can establish an agent profile through our contracting system with SurancePay, establish your profile, put your E&O information in there, different pieces, and then you can basically pick a carrier to contract with electronically and make it easier. We can make certain that we protect you with E&O coverage. It says qualified agents. What makes you a qualified agent? You got a contract with us. But this is a policy you own and will cover you regardless of your upline for the different products that you're offering as an independent insurance agent. We also help make certain that your license stays in play by discounted continuing education bundles through our association with WebCE. You can actually enhance your own benefit package through a modified guarantee issue program for disability insurance for yourself, where you're paid commission on that product as well. Much as where today's presentation is being recorded, past presentations have been as well. As I mentioned at the top of the presentation, they are available on our website at premiersmi.com, but also on our YouTube channel as well. This one will be too, as soon as we're finished and it's uploaded into the system. So you have a way of going back and looking at different programs that speak to not only different marketing programs and initiatives, but also information about products and carriers and other things that can help you be prepared for the inevitable questions you're going to have as you ask for referrals. I mentioned that electronic tool access that we have, that singular sign-on for 3 different quote engines powered by Connecture, Sunfire, and CSG. It has a CRM that comes as part of it, a means to collect electronic scopes of appointment and store them for that mandatory 10-year period. A great way of having data to go back to ask for referrals and to market other products. Great way also for you to cross-sell. The CSG piece has a neat way of adding on hospital indemnity programs to Medicare Advantage plans, no matter where they got that in a Medicare Advantage plan to start. You can still get that bundle, as they say on American Pickers. Different programs have different incentive programs, MA and PDP programs, the max compensation set by the government. So there are some things we just can't do differently, but we have all that information available for you for the other programs that allow that in a singular spot, and they may help you qualify for the Premier Incentive programs as well, that this last year was basically a virtual trip where you got monies because, hey, the cruise got canceled because of COVID. We do offer different means of reaching out to folks through a customized call list. You can cold call for certain things, some things you can't, but we can make that available to you, butted up against do not call at very reasonable prices or none at all, depending upon your contracting circumstances with us. Ways of accessing those community-based programs to not only offer all your services, but also to ask that magical question, well, who else do you know that I might be able to help? Different carriers will generate prospects for you as well, particularly if you're involved in the Medicare Advantage world and you are active in D-SNP products, dual special needs plans. Each of those carriers are aggressively pursuing that market if they've got it. And I got to tell you, there's a huge expansion of carriers offering that and in different areas. Great area to get involved, great area to ask for referrals as well. We do have internet lead and direct mail support. Also, the direct mail is based on production. And remember, each of those production pieces where you can qualify under the health programs and under final expense, 2 different ways, could be both the same month, production's there. Great way to ask those folks for, hey, who else do you know as well? We also have programs that are instituted through these vetted vendors, the direct mail programs that we have. We do that to make certain that we all remain in compliance, but we also have programs that enable you to purchase responses as well. Why some folks don't do this all the time? Well, keep in mind, if you direct the mail campaign, as soon as the lead comes up, it's popping up in your CRM available through these different vendors. You can call them the same day that it's received. When you're purchasing some of these, they may be a tad older. Still a great source, a great way of doing it and massaging your benefits and your lead flow. It's just a little bit different time lag in receiving those leads. We do also offer Facebook lead programs for both final expense and Medicare. Talk about instant response. You got that with the internet leads. It's a question of the validity of those programs and how you are making certain that you approach them. All this said and done, we're doing this because we want your business. We want your business across the board. We want to help you get in front of the people that can make you and your agency a success. And we're asking you to keep us in mind with the other agents that you speak with. Tell them, hey, Premier's got some unique programs. They're going to help you with the training programs, a great portfolio of products. You need to give them a call. We'd appreciate your referrals as well. So as you make this a standard part of your marketing plan, keep in mind that great phrase of John Wayne and the Cowboys. Hey, we're burning daylight. Don't wait around to do it. Start practicing it. Not tomorrow, now. With everybody that you talk to, walk through the process of, hey, who else do you know that I can help? All that said and done, you can reach us here at Premier at 1-800-365-8208. If you're working with one of our marketers now, ask them about the referral program, the different things that can come into play. Make certain that you have the follow-up to today's presentation in this recording so you can review it for those, hey, what did he say on this slide? That sort of thing. You can also, of course, respond to the email that comes out with this, or go on our website at Premier SMI, fill out one of those forms and say, hey, I want to talk to somebody, and we can get that taken care of for you. Checking questions really quickly. 4 of them, all addressed in today's presentation. So what's left for me now is to thank you for the time that you invested with us here today. We realize that's your most precious commodity. We appreciate being allotted a portion of that investment. For those of you that have done business with us, we thank you for that business. And we look forward to the people that you talk about us to, those other agents, and you're referring to them to us as well. All that said and done, until we're able to visit with you in the future, we wish you good selling. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon.